Welcome to the Agents of the Unexplained podcast. From a haunted abandoned asylum to Sasquatch lurking in the dark woods and watching you, and all things unexplained, here are the stories from outside our realm. With your host, Bill Rigby.
Well, good evening, everybody. Tonight, we got my friend. Me and him does a lot of talking and discussing a lot of different things. And not just Bigfoot or UFOs, but me and John gets along great. He's very intelligent about his research. He's very intelligent about UFOs, Bigfoot, all kind of things. He's into it all. So, let me bring the big man in here. Hey, John.
How you doing, buddy?
Hey, look, you got my brother with you. No.
No. He always pops in on the show.
Yes. But the thing is, how can I put this? Oh, first off, I want to say something. Last Saturday, I was supposed to be at Patsy Hillman at Park, and I was going to speak. My wife's in the hospital. I had to cancel at the last minute, and I hate doing that to Fayette County. Hi, Linda. It really bothered me to do that. But, John, I want to thank you for stepping in, covering my ass. I appreciate it.
Anytime, buddy.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I don't like someone to leave me in a lurch, and I felt like I left them in a lurch, and I really feel bad. But they all told me, "Don't worry about wife first." Well, yeah, she is, but I still felt bad. But you stepped up and took over for me, and I appreciate it. I really do.
That's right. I showed you what it's supposed to be like.
But
no problem.
Yeah,
no problem. It's a pleasure and an honor to do that. Okay.
But yeah, seriously, that I did feel bad and ignorant, but it is what it is. She's getting better. She's a lot better today compared to yesterday. And I'm very happy about that. But that means that she keeps getting better every day. I don't have to worry so much coming this weekend when I'm up in Forest County at the Forest County Bigfoot Festival. I was really worried about it because I did not want to cancel out on that, but I was thinking I might have to. But it looks like not going to. And I had someone tell me tonight they're going with me. My number 2 grandson, Owen.
Well, there you go.
He's 10
Break
years
him in
old.
early. Break him in early.
He's going with me. He said the only
next
thing.
generation, Bill.
Yeah.
Next generation.
He said the only thing it's going to cost me is a pizza.
Okay.
He got
it.
He got it. I'll buy him a pizza. But yeah,
okay.
His older brother's in the Mothman. I'm taking him to the Mothman Festival this year.
Oh, good. September.
Yeah. Yep. So.
I want to talk about that a little bit tonight.
Yeah. I know you and Beth went down there.
Yeah. One of my friends is listening tonight, Linda. How you doing, Linda?
Yeah.
So I wanted to talk a little bit about that, start that off if you don't mind. And then
no, but I got to say something. She might be your friend, but she's mine too.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm sorry, Bill, but I'm sorry.
You might know her longer, but she's my friend.
But I'm the better looking one. I'm the better looking.
You're not. No, you're not.
All right. Anyhow.
She's the better looking one.
Yeah, she's a real nice person. Like, I haven't met her yet in person, but she's a real nice person.
No, I met her at OBC. she was there. And even though I wasn't feeling good, I ran up and gave her a hug. Yeah. Her and her son was on my podcast the week before, I think, or 2 weeks.
She probably thought she got mugged by a Sasquatch.
A sickly one. And
Sickly.
hi, Virginia. Hi, Johnny Freeman.
Hey guys, what's up?
All right, let's get on with the talk here now.
Okay, well, here we go.
Let's say we're both cute. No.
There you
Way
go.
to cover
hey,
it.
thanks, Linda. But between us, I'm the better looking one.
Anyhow,
so
one.
Right. Yeah. Well, I guess I am that. But anyhow, a couple years ago, my wife and I went down to do a Mothman investigation down in Point Pleasant. We were there about 3 days. We toured the town, went to the museum and all that stuff. But I just wanted to tell you a little bit background first about that. Over 30 years ago, actually a lot longer than that, I met John Keel personally up in New York at LaGuardia Airport. And we hit it off pretty good. I was talking to somebody else about being a paranormal researcher and stuff, and he started talking about his book, The Mothman Prophecies, and he had just finished it up. And what a lot of people don't know, because they saw the movie, and movie didn't really touch upon it like that, was there's a lot of UFO activity down there at that time as well, around the bunker site on McClintock Preserve, okay, and around that area. So my primary interest when I first got into the paranormal was about UFOs and aliens and things of that nature. Having seen now up to this date, 10 times I've seen UFOs, all with multiple witnesses, all of them. Well, anyhow, so my wife and I decided to go down, and she's kind of afraid to do this kind of stuff. She's not outdoorsy like I am. I love being outside all the time. I'll probably go live in a cave and stuff if she passes away. But anyhow, the thing is that we went down, and I had 2 really powerful handheld CBs. They look like giant walkie-talkies. In fact, hold on for a second.
All right. He's running to grab stuff. While he's doing that,
I want to show you.
While he's doing that, I got to show this.
Oh, Dr. Pepper.
All I'm going to say is Pepsi's going down, baby. Going down. They're number 3 behind Dr. Pepper. Okay. John's back.
This is the handheld walkie-talkie that I have. It's 40 channels, very powerful. Okay. So I had a couple of them. She had one. She was probably 600 feet away. She wouldn't get out of the car. Well, I went and I examined every bunker. Okay. Now, being this is a preserve.
I'm listening. I'm grabbing something too.
Okay.
Go ahead. Keep talking.
Anyhow, so being this is a preserve, you would think there's a lot of animals there, deer and things of this nature. The whole time I was there, I didn't see not one deer, not one bird, not one bug. Okay, wow. No frogs. There's a great big marsh there, swamp I call it, was covered with green slime. Nothing, no frogs, nothing. Not a sound was up there. Okay, so I go in all these bunkers one by one. My walkie-talkie, well, CB, I should say, is real powerful. I never had a problem. Okay, I went to all the far bunkers first. I also had a real powerful rechargeable light, which I have over here right now. I'm not going to grab that one. But, so I go in all these things. It's working fine. I go into the last one, and all of a sudden, my light goes out. My CB quits working. Okay, inside this bunker is a 666 on the wall and a pentagram on the floor and everything else. Okay. So
wow.
My wife got a little concerned that she didn't get out of the car, but she seen me coming walking out of there again and stuff because I go in. I'm not afraid of anything, you know that. Anyhow, so I'm walking around the park and stuff, and well, if you want to call it a park, not a sound. I went to the other edge of the swamp and all that stuff. Nothing. Meanwhile, here comes a guy looking for his dog that disappeared in the swamp. He drove in off the main road up there. Okay, and now next to this McClintock Preserve is a farmer's field. I think they had corn grown in it. We didn't see any animals, nothing in there. Now, that's kind of strange, but anyhow, so I did this for 3 days, didn't see anything, nothing. Okay, but I had an eerie feeling. So the wife and I went down to the aquatorium down there next to the river. We call it an aquatorium up here. And we took a camcorder and we talked to about 100 different Point Pleasant residents. 50% of them, I'd say, believe there's something there. The other 50%, they didn't deny that there was something there. They just said they didn't know. Okay. Now I understand that's a big draw. That's a big draw for tourism and stuff like that. But it's based on a factual case. Factual cases, I say. Linda was involved in one of those things, and I respect that a lot. I really like to have her on your show too, because she knows her stuff.
Who, Linda? I had her on my show.
Really?
I did have
I
her
must have missed
on.
that one. I missed that one. Jesus. Well, I can't get them all, but I mean, I can't see them all. I guess, I mean, I'm on 5 different sites, but anyhow, the thing is, I'm going to tell you what I think. I've seen shows on TV where they talk. There was this couple said that when they went into one of the bunkers, that some entity followed them back to their house. Okay.
Right.
I say shenanigans. Okay. I don't buy that. Okay. I don't believe this creature is a supernatural creature. Okay. I believe it's either an interdimensional creature or an extraterrestrial creature. That's my own personal belief based on my research and looking into this. And I'll tell you why. They say this creature is about 6 to 10 feet tall, I guess, and it's got about a 12-foot wingspan. Now, if you know anything about biology, which I happen to do, birds have hollow bones, so they can have wings that are not that big, so they can fly. This thing was pretty big. Not only was it big, it flew alongside a car, for crying out loud. Okay, so let's say its bones weren't hollow. How did it fly? They have to have a 50, 60-foot wingspan. There's just no way. So I believe this creature is something else altogether different. Now, I have a theory, because there was UFO activity in the area, a number of sightings about that this creature was brought there. Maybe it was an alien's pet, let's say, and they let it out to go do its business or whatever. Or maybe it was one of the aliens themselves, because we don't know how many races are visiting the Earth at this point. But I will tell you what I do believe. I believe it's real. I don't believe it's a supernatural entity. I believe it's a flesh and blood entity. I believe it's still up there, and it can make itself known, but it's a pretty big area up there, okay? And I believe the witnesses that came forward.
There you go. Here's what Linda had to say. It was 8 to 9 feet tall, leathery skin. And it was with the UFO she saw.
There you go.
It's interdimensional.
There you go. Well, let me explain something about that terminology, because I had a bit of a disagreement with one of our good friends about the explanations of what's interdimensional and what's extraterrestrial. It's not the same thing. Interdimensional means it's a different universe it goes into, a different universe. Extraterrestrial means it's in this universe, the universe we live in. Now, you can look it up in the dictionary and it'll say exactly what I said. Interdimensional.
Okay, but wait a minute. No, you're going to get me going on this one. I don't think it's extraterrestrial. I really don't think it's that.
Okay, I understand that.
We have not found any other life forms on any other planets in our solar system. I believe it is interdimensional to another system.
It could be, but I'm just saying that the words interdimensional and extraterrestrial are two separate things. Okay, that's all I'm saying, and that's the definition. But interdimensional means from another dimension other than one we're in, and extraterrestrial means from this dimension in another solar system, star system, or galaxy. Okay, that's the difference. And I don't want to argue with the guy.
They jumped through a portal.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, you're right. But like I said, I believe Linda's story because I read some stuff about it and what she had said. I didn't see her interview on your podcast, and I apologize for that. But I do believe what she said. And I do believe what other witnesses have said as well, because it was a very consistent story. Very consistent story. And I see what she's saying. In the clouds part UFO came through. It was on the ground below the UFO. There you go. Okay. Now, let me move ahead here a little bit. I said when I was up at Patsy Hillman, and I've said it, I came up to Lindor up at a couple years ago to your outing. I believe that Bigfoot is either an extraterrestrial being or an interdimensional being. And I'll tell you why. I've been on a number of cases where Bigfoot has been seen in close proximity to either a hovering UFO, a landed UFO, going into one or coming out of one. Now there's a connection. Now at first I never even thought about it. So I believe that. That's just my take on it. Now I'm going to tell you something.
That's fine. Can I tell you something real quick on that? With
Sure.
my sighting, I presume it was flesh and blood because that's what it looked like. Did it jump through a portal or did it beamed up my Scotty? I don't know. I never saw that. Okay. What I saw looked flesh and blood. But I'm keeping my mind open. It's because I really don't know.
None of us do. None of us know. That's the whole point. The thing is, let me tell you something. The biggest, like I said, I've seen 4 different Bigfoot, 2 juveniles, an 8-foot tall one by Cheat Lake going up that long grade with my wife, and that 10-foot tall one up there by California PA High School. Okay, by the power lines. Now, let me explain something about that one, because that's the one that really sticks in my mind over all of them, because that's the one I got the closest to. I got a call. I was on a case in McMurray for over a year with my co-investigators, a bunch of them. Now, McMurray's only 12 miles or so away from Pittsburgh. You would think that being that close to a highly urbanized area, you wouldn't have this kind of stuff, okay? But anyhow, after a year's investigation, 2 of them followed me out of the woods, and multiple witnesses saw them coming out, 5 to 6 feet tall, about 150 to 200 pounds. Now, when I got home after that, the very next day, it snowed. It was 20 below zero with the wind chill and everything else. Channel 2 News, KDKA in Pittsburgh, called me, Mary Rob Jackson from Channel 2 News, and she said, John, we've had a sighting of Bigfoot up in Crescent Heights, PA. Would you mind if we came down with the camera crew and everything else to pick you up, since you're the lead investigator for this area? I said, sure. So we go up there. We found 2 sets of tracks. And I told you about this, Bill.
Yep.
A 22-inch long one, 22 inches long, and an 18-inch long set of tracks, almost 18 inches. I use what's called a soil compaction device, and it measures the depth of the imprint by the weight. The weight of the big one's around 1,200 pounds. That's bigger than a grizzly bear. The weight on the smaller one was about 800 pounds on the left foot. On the right foot, however, it was showing a weight of around 1,000 pounds, which told me it was carrying something. Okay? Carrying something.
Right.
So what? Don't know. But we followed the tracks to the edge of the hill where they looked down over into this town, and they squatted down. You can see their butt prints. So I'm looking for further tracks. There's no further tracks. I'm like, what the hell? So I looked back at the tracks that followed to the edge of the hillside, and I looked at the tracks real good. They follow one in front of the other, not like human beings do. And I see that the heel was down lower in the tracks. They backstepped into their own tracks into the woods where it was heavily bushed. You couldn't see anything. I found hair samples, sent them to California University, and came back 2 weeks later, unknown hominid. Now, also within this time frame, I go back from an investigation. I get home. This is before cell phones. My first wife tells me, John, the California police chief called. I said, what's up? They want you to come up to High School Hill. So I was, okay. So I went up. I carried a Q-beam, which is a powerful spotlight, and a stun gun, a 1,000,000-volt stun gun. I always carried it because I always carried large sums of money back then. So I go up there, and there's 12 police officers from 4 different municipalities and 30 civilians, including some teachers who lived around that area. I said, what's going on, Charlie? His name was Charlie. First name, I don't know if you still, well, Baloney's his last name. He moved to Florida. But anyhow, so he says, look up there, about 150 feet off the road. Didn't I show you this to you, Bill, by the way?
Yeah, yes.
When I picked you up
you
there?
did.
Okay. It was leaning against this high tension tower. This is around midnight. So I go up there and I start walking up over the hillside. Police officers, I turn around, they're not following me. I goes, what's going on? You guys coming? They go, look at the size of the effing thing. I go say exactly what they said. I said, you guys got guns. So we're not going up there. I said, well, I'm going. I got within 15 feet of this thing. Before I even got that close, I could smell dead animals, death. I mean, like death, like roadkill that's been sitting for months, and leaves and weeds and everything else. So I get up closer. I got within about 12 feet. This thing's got its arms crossed like this, not completely, massive. I'm 6'4", as you know. I came barely to its waist. I weighed 240 pounds at this time. Okay. I looked like like this, like a toothpick next to it. Okay.
Yeah,
Massive arms.
guarantee.
Right. Massive arms, big as tree trunks and legs. Now I'm going to tell you something. And I've said this to you before, and I've talked to other people about this. I see all kind of renditions of what a Bigfoot supposedly looks like on Facebook. They always try to make it look like it's the Incredible Hulk with all the muscles shown. No, 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 no. It's covered with fur or hair. The only place it's clear is right around here like this. And the skin is like blackish. Okay, I couldn't even see its ears.
Not on the one I saw.
Right, I couldn't even see
The
its
hair
ears
was
on it.
dark brown. The hair was dark brown. And,
with reddish highlights.
I didn't see reddish highlights in the one I saw, but the face was a darker brown.
Right. Yeah. Well, darker brown and black.
Yeah.
Right. But anyhow, so I looked. I couldn't tell what sex it was because the genitalia was covered as well. I'll tell you what I did see though. I saw molars, and I saw canine teeth, which tells me it's an omnivore, which means it eats plants and animals. Okay. Any successful creature on this planet, like us, we're omnivores. We eat both. Okay. So if there's a shortage of meat, we can eat plants. Anyhow. So I looked at this thing for 15 or 20 seconds and I shined a light on it. What's really strange about this is when I shined this real powerful 500,000 candle power light on this thing, its fur seemed not to reflect it, but to absorb the light, which really caught me off guard. The second thing was I shined a light in its eyes. No primate on this planet has eye shine. Not one. This thing had green eye shine about, I'd say 8 inches apart, at least. The head didn't have a sagittal crest like a gorilla either. It was slightly pointed, but not big sagittal crest like a silverback gorilla. Okay, now almost no neck. Right. Now here's the thing. Right. Here's the thing. It studied me. Now you guys, I know you know, and I know I'm sure Linda knows, and some of our other viewers know about infrasound. Now, I remember feeling waves of, and I only can describe it as sadness emanating from this creature. Okay. It actually was like a physical wave against me. And I thought it was sad. It could have torn me limb to limb, from limb to limb, ripped my arms and legs off and beat me to death with my bloody stumps. Okay. But it didn't do that. It took 3 steps. I saw it for about 15, 20 seconds and ran so fast, dead stopped at 60 mile an hour that fast into the woods. I can see why there's blurry pictures of them, because your camera a normal camera can't focus that fast. You'd have to have a special camera with a real fast shutter speed. Okay. Most people don't carry those kind of cameras. Right. They're $1,000 cameras. Now, the creatures also are this. I want to say this to you. Now, I'm going to go along with what you said earlier about maybe they use portals or they're interdimensional. If they are indeed using portals, that implies something. What it implies, it's an intelligent enough creature to use a portal. You understand? It's not an animal. It is not an animal. It is something other. I don't believe it's a descendant of Gigantopithecus or the Deinosuchus. I don't believe that. Just because it looks like a giant ape, it doesn't mean it's a giant ape. Okay? We look like sort of like a hairless ape, don't we? We look like a hairless ape, except when I don't shave. But the thing is,
I don't know. My wife said I look like a jackass. At least she calls me that a lot.
Well, I can understand that, Bill. I mean, I met you too, so I know. But anyhow, but the thing is, I'm getting at is this creature is something else. And I want to say this too, and I've talked to other people about this as well. In the Northeast, I don't know of one case personally. Not saying it doesn't exist; they don't exist. But I've never heard of one case personally where any sheep or cow has been taken and killed by a Bigfoot up in the northeastern part of this country. However, down south, where the Bogey Creek Monster was and the skunk ape, they're more feral and more territorial, and they are violent. Then you move to the Pacific Northwest. Okay, they're definitely violent out there. They're very violent.
Wait a minute. I did an investigation with a guy that had a research area up in New York.
Okay.
This farmer would not say for sure Bigfoot was on his property, even though he's seen the big hairy guy. He had a bunch of sheep. They all got slaughtered and eaten. And
well,
it
then I have to ask
a family pot of them. The farmer was telling me the story on that. We're talking
here's
about
the thing,
10
Bill.
years back.
Well, here's the thing about that. As an investigator for 56 years, I need some proof that cause and effect.
Right.
Did a Bigfoot kill him, or did something else kill him? Okay. Did a human have
I
some
asked him
humans
about
go out there?
coyotes or wolves. I asked him about coyotes and wolves. He says he never
We
saw
have them
any
here.
around the farm. Oh,
Well,
yeah. We got coyotes around, yeah. I haven't seen a wolf other than the guy that has those.
I would have to examine the bodies, and I'd have to have a biologist check them out to see cause of death, what caused their death. So
Yeah, I agree with that.
I'm a skeptical guy.
I agree with that. And I'd still say, you're saying you never heard up this area.
No, I haven't. That's the first I heard of that.
New York. And actually, Mary Fabian was there when we were talking about it. She was up there too. And the researcher was telling us about it. They had the farmer come over and tell us about it. So yeah, I'm believing this farmer because he still wouldn't say it was a Bigfoot. He says, but it was big.
Well, there you go. If he won't say it, okay, and there's no proof of it beyond what he thinks might have happened. See what I'm saying?
From what he saw of it. So now, I'm not going to argue with him. He's the one that's telling us the story of what he think happened. And then he saw the creature.
Well, that's okay. That's one case then. But what I'm trying to get at is I've never heard, other than this one you just told me, I've never heard one. But I have heard cases out west, Pacific Northwest, like for instance the Portlock incident. Okay, I keep bringing that up, and there's a lot of people disappearing. I don't know if you noticed this or not, but I have a map of the cave systems in this country. Okay, and on those cave systems, it almost perfectly matches up with people disappearing and Bigfoot sightings. Is there a connection? I don't know. I don't get to travel the whole country anymore like I used to. But the thing is, what I'm getting at is what I want done. I want, short of them finding a corpse of a Bigfoot or somebody capturing a Bigfoot, which I don't think it's going to happen. Okay. I need some kind of proof, because the see, for me personally, I have to be able to prove to mainstream science, who looks at us all like idiots, like we're nuts and fruitcakes. I have to have definitive proof to show people.
You know how everyone says, the scientists and the colleges are not backing the Bigfoot research? Well, there is a college professor who got scientists and other colleges all on board to work together on this.
Well, that's good. But here's what I want to do.
Darby Orcutt, and I did not get to talk to him at the OBC because I was sick.
He's one of my Facebook friends.
I would have more information on what.
I know who he is. But here's the thing,
I got
Bill.
a lot of belief in him.
I do too. But let me just say this: what I want to see happen, my eventual goal is this: one, for science, mainstream science, to acknowledge it exists, and two, to put it on the endangered species list, so no one's going out and shooting it. Because, as I said, what if you wound a grizzly bear? Just you say you're one human being, you wound a grizzly bear, and it takes off, and you go home. What happens to the next human being that encounters that same grizzly bear that's wounded?
Yep.
It's going to kill your ass.
And I can honestly say, if there's one, there's more.
Yeah, there has to be a breeding population.
You shoot one. What are you going? you know, if you shoot it, they usually ain't traveling alone. They might not be right next to each other, but so.
Well, that's the thing. I wanted to tell you about this. My brother worked at the California high school for a long time. He used to work, one of the shifts was 3 to 11. He was coming home one night with his truck on Route 43. Right next to that, there's Route 43 is next to the high tension tower in the high school. Okay, you and I drove down that, by the way, when we came back from West Virginia.
Yeah.
He said it was around 11:15 that night because he left work at 11. He's coming down the highway and there was state police and ambulances and everything else up on the highway. Now, my brother Nick does not lie. It's my youngest brother. I'm the oldest of the bunch, the litter. But anyhow, he said he saw with his own eyes state police and local police keeping people away. Whatever they hit something. Nick saw what looked like a Bigfoot on a gurney, and right there, Army trucks pulled up, took this creature, covered it up, and put it on the back of the trucks and drove off. They wouldn't even allow anybody else around it. 2 cars were damaged on Route 43. Now, just so you know, Route 43 and that high tension tower in Crescent Heights are all within 5 miles of each other. Within 5 miles. It's got to be the same group. In Brownsville, next to Patsy Hillman Park almost, listen to this. A priest called us up when I was in Stan Gordon's group at that time. Okay, we all know what Stan Gordon's about. But anyhow, I was in that group. And this priest said he came out one night, or I guess it was early in the morning. He had put trash out. And one of the things he had was a box with old pizza in it that he had. He put it in the trash. He heard noise outside a few minutes later, and he looked. There were 3 Bigfoot, a big tall one, a shorter one, and a juvenile rooting through his trash for that. Again, that's within 7 miles of that area. Okay? I've been at Patsy Hillman Park when it was Luzerne Park on investigations, a number of them up that area. That's my neck of the woods. I was in charge of Washington, Greene, and Fayette counties at the time. That was my area.
Well, Johnny Freeman lives right near there, too.
Yeah, he lives in Brownsville, right?
Yeah. And
he's one of my Facebook friends too. And but like, actually, I want to get a hold of him. I'm thinking about getting a group started down this way to go with me on stuff. But anyhow, because I'm getting kind of old right now and long in the tooth, you know. And if I fall in the woods right now, I just had knee replacement, as you know. I want to make sure I have somebody there to help me out if I fall, or if they fall, I can help them. But anyhow, normally I don't like to take a lot of people. I have tons of people ask me all the time to go into the woods with me. But I told you before this, I don't want to take a bunch of rookies into the woods because they make too much damn noise, for one. If I can hear you in the woods, you damn sure bet that Bigfoot can hear you in the woods. And I want to say this about them. I believe, based on the things I've seen and heard and researched, they have super hearing. We know they got super strength. They can move super fast. And I think they see in different spectrums, including infrared or ultraviolet or both. This is not a normal.
Here's the thing, too. I'm not going to argue that. But you're taking out of context. You know, I do believe they're flesh and blood. I believe.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely.
But they're super strength and they're super smart and super this. They are wood smart. Okay? They're not street smart. They're wood smart. Because they're in the woods.
I'll tell you what. Well, let me just say this about that.
And they learn how to use their surroundings because of the woods.
Well, here's the thing, Bill. Deer haven't learned to use the woods because you see them dead on the highway all the time. They walk down the streets here in front of my house right now all the time, okay? Right down the middle of the street. Now, listen. They know our weaponry. Now, the point I was trying to make about them not taking any of our cattle around here or our lambs or sheep or anything like that is they know instinctively that we'd go after them with dogs and weapons. The ones up here have learned to cohabitate within human domains, urban areas. This is a very urban area.
I believe they do. I believe they do. I'm not going to argue that. I believe they do. I was
Now,
up
I
in
do believe
Cambridge
the one.
Springs, PA, on an investigation, and the lady said she saw one out her side door in the neighbor's front yard, just 2 houses up from her. And I looked out
Let me
that side door and I went, "Oh hell yeah!" Yeah, they got some wood covering, trees, and that they come up through and check things out and then disappear.
Let me tell
I
you
believe
something.
that.
Years ago, when Devin and I went up to Crescent Heights the next day, well, the day a couple days later, actually, one of his colleagues, Dr. Paul Johnson, who was brand new in paranormal field, wanted to come with us. Paul's tall and skinny. He's 6'6", skinny as a
I
rail.
know who he is.
Devin,
I got a lot of
yeah,
respect for him. Yes.
Devin, he's a professor. Devin is 6'6"
Yep.
and a half, 660 pounds, a nuclear engineer. Okay, he knows all that stuff. And I, at the time, was a site supervisor for an environmental company, and I'm the littlest of the three in height, and that in the middle weight. Okay, now we actually, and there was over 500 cases at that time being reported. One of the women in Crescent Heights, a black lady, came up to us and said, "I want to show you something." So we go up to her. She lived on a trailer on a hillside like this. And facing down was this
Right.
mine hollow, and up over the other side where a UFO, what I have pictures of, by the way, had landed. But anyhow, she said one night she looked out her window because she heard a noise. Now that window faced down the hill. So she said she saw a face looking in that window. That window was 9 feet above the ground. For something to look in that window, had to have been 10 feet tall. Okay,
That's
so
the same
but,
a little town of Wheatland here that got wiped out by a tornado in '85. Half the town's gone. This lady called the police. There's something looking in her back window. Wouldn't you know it, is a good friend of mine's son. My good friend was a cop. His sons became cops, and he was working that call that night. Ended up telling us about it here about a year and a half, 2 years ago, because I heard this story before, and I didn't realize he was the cop. The window was 9 to 10 foot off the ground. There's deep impressions in the grass facing toward the window. You can see the feet facing toward the window. So that thing had to be a good 10 foot or taller.
let me say this. Let me add to this. I mentioned a UFO that was across this mine hollow from where she lives.
Right.
Okay. I said I was on over 500 cases in about 2.5 week span, all the way up to Connellsville, up there by the stone quarry. I had state police up there, Connellsville police calling us, and everything else. We went everywhere at that time. I mean, there was a rash of sightings. But anyhow, May 30th, 1990, on this ridge, which parallels Crescent Heights, where I took you to one day, my first wife and I were she was pregnant with our third child, and I had two younger children in there. One was 7, and I think the other one was 6.5, John and Stephen.
Right.
So we're in my Jeep, and I had the top of the Jeep off. I have a CJ7 I built. It sets up real high. But one of my main hobbies is astronomy. So I'm showing my kids and my wife the constellations, because it was a no moon that night, clear night. So we get to the high point of the ridge, and my wife says, "We know what all that is, John. What's that behind us?" Now we're on the high point of the ridge, and down below us, about 300 feet away, we saw some lights behind some trees, really bright even at that distance through the trees. Well, I have off-road lights on my Jeep, and we know there's kids around who have off-road vehicles. So my first thought's what? Well, it's an off-road vehicle. And then it did this. Started raising up about that fast. My next thought, because the wind was coming from behind me that direction toward it, it's a helicopter. But I couldn't figure out. It was May 30th, 1990 at 9 p.m. at night. Okay. It clears the trees at 300 feet. And it's so bright at that point, Bill, I'm doing this. I couldn't even look at it. That's brighter than any landing gears I've ever seen on jets or anything. Now it starts coming toward me. Now, again, I'm on the high point of the ridge. It's coming up. I walked 75. Now I grabbed a camera. I always carry a camera in my vehicle. I don't hunt with a gun anymore. I hunt with a camera. Okay. I have several good,
Right.
really good cameras and camcorders and everything. But anyhow, so it's coming toward me. As it's coming toward me, I'm walking toward it. Now it's getting so close, I can't see. And I'm doing this. My wife and kids were screaming, livid with terror. And I was so apologetic afterwards. Well, anyhow, that's another story. But anyhow, now it's almost overtopped me, and I got tired of trying to see through it where the lights were. There was two lights on it. I raised my camera, I hit the flash, and when I did, the lights went off. And above me, almost completely above me, 15 to 20 feet, was an orange hemispherical dish. Now, I felt waves of heat coming down on me. My wife said to me, it looked like a mirage kind of thing. You know how a mirage looks, but it was orange in color.
Yeah.
I'm getting bathed in this light, and I'm feeling this tremendous heat. Now the thing does this: it tilts down toward me, and as it does, I see two sets of landing gear doing this into the edges of the craft. Not the standard landing gear you think like tripods, but like two fingers like this, but going up into the edges. When it tilted down before me, it was probably 12 to, I'd say, 14 feet above me. I saw three windows, two small ones on the side, maybe 2.5 feet each, not completely square, like rounded on the edges, and a bigger one in the window, about 4 feet in the middle. In those windows, as God is my judge, I saw four beings: a small one in this one, a small one in this one, and two in the middle one. All of them were big eyes, gray skin, no more than 3 feet tall, except the one in the middle, which is about 4 feet tall. It looked down at me like this, and they were looking at me. So what do you think I did, Bill? I did this. And you know what they did? In unison, they did this. Wait, with long fingers, longer than mine. And they waved back at me. And then it tilted back up and zipped away in a blink of an eye. Now, this whole time was no sound, Bill. Now, the ridge is real windy. Yeah. So I had to go. It was jerking like this in the sky. It wasn't moving like fast. So I had to go 60 miles an hour to keep up with it. It went down around the turn and disappeared. I'm feeling all this heat. So my kids and my wife were terrified. So I took them down to my brother's house. He grabbed a camcorder, one of those big ones. Remember those old ones? We came back up in his Chevy Blazer. He had 3 fully charged battery packs. He slapped one in, and all 3 died. UFOs. All 3 of them died, right. There were 3 UFOs. Meanwhile, after that all happened, he says, and the lights came back on his vehicle, he says, I'm going to take you to the hospital. He says, your skin's peeling off. Everywhere, like my hair on the sides, because I always wear a baseball cap when I'm out. I mean, I have a nice head of hair, as you see. Anyhow, but they took me up to the old Brownsville hospital, and on the way, Ralph says, what are you going to tell the doctors? You can't tell them you got zapped by a flying saucer. I said, I'll just tell them I fell asleep under infrared light. I go into there. They took me to emergency. My skin's peeling off. The doctor says, what happened? I said, I fell asleep under ultraviolet light. He looked at me like this till he says, you're sticking with that story? I said, yeah. They treated me for 3rd-degree burns. I got cancer from that, Bill. I fought that cancer for 8.5 years. I came up here to Hillman Cancer Center here in Washington, which is one of the best cancer hospitals in this part of the state. And my doctor just so happens to be a witness to a UFO sighting himself. He said I was exposed to ionizing radiation. Now, after that, I got a hold of my friend Devin, who's a radiation expert. He designs and builds reactors for atomic subs. He has a security clearance from the government. We went back up there in full radiation gear with radiation badges on and 2 Geiger counters. We went up behind those trees and we found an impression on the ground, started walking in on that impression, and our badges turned completely red. We backed out quickly, put the 1 Geiger counter down, and it was buried. Hazard, 1,500 times higher than background radiation. As we watched it, the Geiger counter slowly went back down to normal. We went inside the circle and measured the depth of the imprint with a soil compaction device. It indicated a weight of 30 tons. 30 tons. But here's the strange part. We base our numerical system on tens, don't we? 10, 20, 30, or 12 inches, 24 inches, 36 inches. This circle was exactly 50 feet in diameter. Exactly 50 feet. We took samples of the plants were melted. We took them. We still had them. We took and went everywhere and we looked. Okay. Now, Devin and I were going on this ridge for a while. Now, I know some of the people watching this are going to think I'm a nutcase, and I don't really care. At 70, almost 72 years of age, I can speak my mind with, and I can go to sleep knowing I told the truth. I've been an abductee since I was 5 years of age. I've had multiple instances of missing time. As I said, recently, up to 10 UFO sightings, including with Dan Benoit and Julie and myself by Mingo Park. We saw, he got it on film, 2 UFOs. We were looking for Bigfoot. We found 1 track, by the way, there on Bigfoot, but 2 UFOs. Right. This is all within a close proximity, Bill, of all this stuff. There has to be a connection. There has to be a connection. What it is, I don't know. And anybody in this field, and you and I agree on this, we're tired of hearing people call themselves expert. I'm tired of it. I'm not an expert. I'm an explorer of the unknown. That's what I am.
Oh, let me tell you, I'm an expert at nothing.
Well,
I'm still learning.
My wife says I'm an expert at procrastinating, doing stuff around the house sometimes. But besides that, the thing is this. I go out there. I've been on over 5,000 cases in my life, ranging from UFOs, Bigfoot, alien abductions, possession cases, ghosts, orbs, demons, and even 1 vampire case, which I told you about years ago, a couple years ago. Okay. Just one vampire case. Okay. I've seen, our group was on Unsolved Mysteries. Okay. Twice, not once, twice. Yeah. Paramount Pictures asked us to endorse the movie Fire in the Sky with the Travis Walton case. I'm a serious investigator. Okay. And I get mad at people. I don't listen. If you want to write a book, that's fine. Write a book. But don't put in the book that you have the definitive answers on what these things are, because I don't know. And I'm not going to know in my lifetime. I'm glad that your grandson is now going with you, because he's the next generation that might get the answers that you and I have been looking for.
Yep.
And I'm going to tell you something. Out of all the cases I've been on, I probably debunked the great majority of them. I don't know what the percentage is. I'd have to say 75 to 80%. Natural stuff, hoaxing, lying, misidentification, all that stuff. But of the remaining cases, they're, in my opinion, I believe they're real. And when I do an investigation on somebody I believe had a legitimate paranormal experience, they're looking for closure, Bill. They want to tell somebody about their experience, okay? If you can get them to come forward, first of all. The only closure I can give a witness to a paranormal event is this: I believe you. Because I can't produce them. I can't produce the paranormal event. Okay?
But,
all I can do is investigate the claim.
Here's the thing. Yeah. When you're taking a report from somebody, yes, they want to get this off their chest. They want someone to believe them. Believe them. No matter how far-fetched it sounds, believe them. Pay attention to what they're saying. Document what they're saying. Then do some more research. See if some of that stuff happened around the general area. You got. Let me tell you. You can't just take a report. Oh, I got this report, that report, that. You got to research them.
Let me tell you something. There was a guy that called me from outside of Waynesburg, PA. It's in Greene County. He lives off of Route 79 South.
Right.
So I went up there with my co-investigator Devin, because we were like best friends. Okay. And this guy claims that he was abducted by a UFO. It landed on his hillside by his house and everything else. So we go up there, and this is why I like to take somebody else with me sometimes. You never know what you're going to run into. I might run into a guy like Jeffrey Dahmer who wants to eat my ass. Okay, excuse my French, but anyhow. So we go up to this guy. We go up to this guy's house. He lives up on a hillside. I was 3 days out of a hospital, by the way. I had some surgery done. 3 days out of a hospital. So I go up there, and he has me in the house, and all around, all the walls in his house had pictures he had drawn of UFOs all over the place. He starts telling us this wild story about being abducted and all this stuff, and he was making love with female aliens, and they were all kinds of crazy stuff. So I this might not have been kosher at the time, but I said, look, may I use your restroom, your bathroom? He goes, yeah, it's in there. And meanwhile, he's offering us beers and stuff. So I go into his bathroom. I do what I have to do, and so I open up his medicine cabinet. He's got all kind of hallucinogenics and drugs in his cabinet. Okay. So that kind of told me something right there. And the story between the story he told, his wife had left him, by the way. And he said he had had a nervous breakdown. So between all these things, I'd have to discount that he actually saw anything. Okay.
Right.
So I put that down in my case files as not real. Okay. Now I got to tell you this story. Off of Route 43, there's a place used to be called Low Hill, PA, which is all within this, I'd say, a 10 to 12 mile radius of all this activity I'm telling you about, with the Ridge, the high school, Crescent Heights, all this. We get a call from a lady up there to Stan Gordon's house, and Stan says, look, this lady says she's an abductee. Will you guys go down and check it out? I'd never met this woman in my life, I swear to you. So we go down here in my Jeep, and Devin gets out. She comes out of her house, and she talks to Devin and stuff. Everything's nice. I get out of the vehicle, and she takes one look at me, turns white in the face, doesn't want to talk. 10 minutes go by. Finally, Devin says, what's going on? She says, well, I'll tell you. She looks at me and says, you were there with them. I went, what? She says, you were there helping them. I said, what are you talking about? She says, you were there helping them when I got abducted. You were telling me be calm while they were doing procedures on me. I never met this woman in my life, ever. Okay? So, as I told you before, I had multiple instances of missing time and stuff. I have 2 scoop marks on my body. One when I was 5 on my right ankle, one on my right wrist. Right now, it's identical. Doctors don't know what it is. I don't do drugs. I don't even smoke. And occasionally I only have a snip of beer or maybe a glass of wine. That's about it. But I never met this woman. Now, I remember through my abduction cases as well, I remember one in particular that I was taken and I walked up a ramp and I was above the trees looking up inside the vehicle and it was showing the ground. I'm kind of getting ahead of myself here. I'm not trying to over talk you, but I hope you'll give me some more time to talk tonight because I like to talk. You know that.
I'm giving you something. I'm giving you a little bit of leeway, John.
I appreciate that.
But I know
our viewers are liking this. Well, we're going to get mixed. We're going to get mixed signals from your viewers tonight. Some are going to believe what I'm saying, or some are going to say he's a nutcase. I don't care. You're one tuning in. I'm just telling what I know. Anyhow, Devin and I decided to go up on this ridge regularly. So we're sitting up there one night, and I don't like mustard. Keep this in mind. So we're sitting in my Jeep by this Old West church, which I took you past, the outdoor church I told you about. Remember that? With the outdoor bell tower and stuff. Yeah. We drove by it that day. So we're sitting here, and he says, John, look over there. Now, I see 3 like orbs and like maybe 500 feet away. He's offering me a sandwich. I said, no, I'll eat it later on. Got mustard on. So I set it on a dash. It was in a plastic bag. Next thing I know, it's 2.5, 3 hours later. I'm totally disoriented. So is he. We don't know what happened. The sandwich is hard as a rock. Anyhow, so to make a long story short, Stan set up a hypno-regression session for Devin and I. We weren't allowed to talk to each other for a couple of weeks. I had a panic attack. I've never had panic attacks in my life when I went up, so I had to reschedule. When I went up there, the woman that did it was so terrified after what I spoke out loud, what happened to me and what I saw and what I was told, she refused to ever do it again. Stan then got a guy from Pittsburgh who was an ex-Pittsburgh City Police hypno-regressionist. His name's William Duffy. He put me under hypnosis and did all kind of tests to make sure I was really under and I wasn't faking. We have it on videotape. Okay, I have to get it put on CD and I'll send you a copy. But anyhow, what I told him and what he reported back to Stan and the rest of the members of the group, at the time we had 300 members, by the way, statewide. He said, Mr. Stasko's the real deal. I'm not making this stuff up. Okay, there's a connection, Bill. There's a connection between UFOs. You know, I believe this in my heart. I believe there's a connection with Mothman. I believe it there. I mean, there's so much we don't know in this world. Okay. And, you know, Sean, that's why I told you.
That's the thing we keep saying. We don't know. There's more that we don't know than we do. That's why us as investigators in the paranormal and the cryptid, we go down this rabbit hole. We end up with more questions than answers.
All right. And you know, the thing that really muddies up the water. Okay. We have guys that are fake They put a gorilla head on themselves and they'll say it's a Bigfoot. We have fake footprints. We have people telling all these outlandish stories and stuff like. I mean, it hurts us, and it hurts us because other people have never had these experiences. Look at us like they're nutcases. There's no such thing. I've never seen one, so it doesn't exist. But here's what I say to those people, and I said this up at Myths and Monsters. I said if you didn't have access to an encyclopedia, the internet, or TV, and I told you there's a creature on this planet that has a bill of a duck, the tail of a beaver, poison-tipped claws, has hair, and lays eggs, what would you say to me? You're nuts. It's called a platypus.
Yep.
Also, there's another creature called the coelacanth. It was supposed to be extinct 65 million years ago. It's a 5-foot-long armored fish. They found at least 7 alive swimming in the Indian Ocean and the Atlantic Ocean off the coast of Africa. So, yes, and the Tasmanian devil, the Tasmanian tiger is still supposed to be alive out in the outback. Then there's something else in Australia called the Megalania, which is a giant relative of the Komodo dragon, 26 feet long.
Yep.
Then there's other people talk about the giant short-faced bear, which is 15 to 18 feet tall, still alive in Siberia. Until we as investigators have to put our best foot forward. We cannot take substandard information.
No, but you got to document everything you're taking, and research it, and research it, and research it.
My wife's about ready to kick me out of the house with my filing cabinet unless I find a place to keep them, because I got over 5,000 files encompassing 56 years, going way back. Okay, and so
that's the thing. I mean, my office is a wreck right now, but my filing cabinet right there, the top one is for my conferences and stuff. The bottom is for reports and everything. I got filing cabinets in the house with reports and stuff. Yeah, it's just crazy.
Do you see these 2 computers here?
Yeah.
I got 2 computers, not one. I have 2 computers, plus I have a Chromebook. So I got all kinds of stuff. And I got 2 desks with files in them. So I'm going to be listen, this summer I'm going to probably have to build a doghouse, and I'll go live in it in the backyard.
Yeah. But that's why I bought this cabinet shed so I could have an office. And I still got stuff in the house.
My wife loves me. She knows she's seen things herself. She was with me and we saw that Bigfoot going up to Cheat Lake in broad daylight, standing right by the tree line, 8 feet tall, right there, boom. But she knows I've told the truth. I have UFO pictures, Bill. I got 7 shots of this stuff. Well, the thing is, listen, I'm an admin at least 5
I got something going too. And Stan Gordon, he heard me talking to one person about the UFO sighting a year ago this past Christmas time. And as he's going past my table there at the Butler Paranormal Conference, he stopped, turned, looked, came over, and says, "Where was this at?" I says, "Sharon, Pennsylvania." I never heard nothing about it. I says, I turned it in to move on.
Thanks, Linda. But let me just say this, Bill. I'm an admin at least 5. I'm an admin at least 5 groups. I'm in your group, and I get invited all the time to be joining these other groups and stuff. And I don't join a lot of groups because, first of all, they're baloney. Okay, and I've been banned. I was banned. I'm not allowed to go to one festival up in Greensburg because who knows? It's my ex-director, Stan. I try to get on this year to go for the Kecksburg Festival. He said, "Oh no, we're booked up for years." Anyhow, but what I'm getting at is this: I don't begrudge somebody writing a book, but don't you sit down there if you have never seen a Bigfoot and tell me you know what they are, because I don't know what they are and I've seen them. Okay, and Linda's right about this. Linda's right about this. Look, we just have to look. It's hard enough to get people to come forward to talk about this stuff. As an administrator in my groups that I'm administrator in, I maintain the fact that no one can come on there and slam somebody else. If I find out you're slamming somebody on one of these groups, you're out of there. I'll give you one warning, but you're gone. Because I'm not going to put up with cursing at somebody. If you don't believe in Bigfoot, get out of the group. Join a group that don't believe in it. Okay? And I got to say this too about being a paranormal. I'm going to say this about being a paranormal investigator. I see these shows on TV. these ghost hunters in particular. They go ghost hunting, right? And then they find a ghost and they run like little girls out the room. Okay. Aren't
Yeah.
you there for that purpose? Aren't you there to see a ghost? Then if you're that scared, don't become one. Let somebody else do your dirty work for you. Okay. I've been to some of the most haunted
yeah.
places.
I'm
I've been to
watching
some of
those
the most
stupid
haunted
TV
places.
shows.
Listen, I don't run
But,
from
you know-
anything. I don't run from a damn thing. Okay. I'm too old to run from one thing. I can't. If you or me in the woods and a bear comes at us, you're safe, Bill, because I can't run. You can. I'm toast. You're not. Okay. So I don't run. Okay. I'm in this because I want to know. I have a friend that's a priest of my priest, and he said to me, John, you have the white knight complex. You're going to die either saving somebody's life or trying to find out something. Well, if that's the case,
Yep.
look, I'm almost 72 years old. It's going to take. I'm hard to kill. I fought cancer, COVID 3 times, blood clots that almost took me out. Okay, I got a hip replaced, a knee replaced. Okay, who knows what else? Okay, so if that hasn't taken me out, I'm not worried about a Bigfoot or anything else like that. And if that Bigfoot I saw up on that by that high school wanted to kill me, it could have easily done so. I'm a very powerful man. It could have done it I couldn't even stop it.
I know you heard my story a few times, John.
Oh yeah.
The one I saw 15 feet away from me. If it wanted to kill me, I wouldn't be here right now.
Exactly. I think what it did, Bill. I think Bill, it got a good. I think it got a good look at your face, and you scared it away. That's fine. I got to mess with you. I don't get a chance to talk to you like that. So, anyhow.
Yeah. Oh man, I was itchy. But anyhow.
But like I said,
seriously, Linda said that one thing. Let me scroll back up here. It used to bother her. It used to bother her to tell her experiences. But you know what? You know what I tell the people? Tough shit. Don't blame me. I'm not going to convince you.
I believe her. I believe her 100%. I've talked to Linda.
I do too.
Okay.
So do I. But when I'm telling my story and someone says something to me like, "Oh yeah, right," why would I lie to you? I don't need to lie. I ain't in it for the fame. I'm in to learn, plain and simple.
You know what?
And
Bill, I'm going to tell you something. I've never charged a penny for any investigation I've been on. Never for a speaking engagement. Never for a podcast. Nope. I go out of my way with my money out of my own pocket to do this stuff because I love it and I need to know.
Yeah.
I don't know how much longer I got.
I'm going to be speaking up in Forest County. They asked me how much money I wanted. Food per diem, motel room. And I told them, just give me a motel room. I was going to pay for it. I was going to actually go camping instead. But
That's a little different, Bill.
Then I wrote them back, said, don't even worry about the room. I don't want it. You don't need to pay for it. We already reserved it for you. You confirm it.
Well, you know what I don't like? There are speakers that want to charge between $5,000 and $8,000 to show up.
We know who they are. We know who they are.
We know who they are. Okay. I understand they may come from a long distance, but listen, if you really love this subject like I do, I'm into everything paranormal, okay? Not just Bigfoot or UFOs I'm into everything. I read up on stuff around the world, okay? I have friends in Italy, I have friends in Ukraine, and in Russia of all places. I talk to a guy almost not every day. He's in England. He's an astrophysicist. His name's Ian Hawkins. He's a great guy.
Yeah.
Yep. I think he's in your group too. I think I invited him in your group and stuff. But the thing is I talk to people around the world, Philippines, Canada. I'm in John Lanigan's group up there that it's called Bob Lazar and Beyond. He's the one that spilled the beans on Area 51. Right. So I'm in a
group over in UK. I belong. There was a group of it, and it grew. And I'm one of not the founding members of it, but I'm one of the members of it. And we've been, they have their usual meeting once a week, and it's all about over there. But I got to be there. They want me there for advice and sharing the knowledge.
Oh, Yeah, I want to say
So
something about that. I need to say something about that. One of my friends asked why these various groups don't network and share information. I was in a group out in another state, and I talked to the guy that started the group and everything. He's a good guy, and we got along great. Then all of a sudden, I made a suggestion that he should network with other groups. He kicked me out of the group, but before he did, he said, "I'm trying to grow my own group." That's the problem. They don't want to share
yeah,
information. You know why? Everybody wants to make a name for themselves in this. Okay, I don't care. What I don't
I
like
don't
is when
care
you're in it to
either.
try to make money. If you're in here to try to make money, you're not in it to get answers. You know why? Because if Bigfoot is found, you're out of business, dude. You're out of business.
Yeah.
They don't
Well,
care.
Michael Cook interviewed me.
I
I don't
know
know if
Mike.
it's for a
He's a
book
friend.
or yeah. Actually, I'll be seeing him this week. Uh, he threw a question at me, and he goes, "Bill, if for once a Bigfoot was actually found and determined, yes, they are real by the scientific world, would you
Oh, I
still
know they're real.
research?" So
I
do
know
I.
they're real.
And I what? Of course I'll still research. Yeah, now the scientific world knows they're real. I just want to know what they're doing, why they're doing it, when they're doing it, and how come they're doing it. There's all those questions I need answered.
Oh, I gotta
I
tell you
says,
something
just
here.
had one found. Hell no, the research ain't done. And
Well,
he goes, I says,
I gotta tell
wait a minute. And he goes and said, here's the thing. 25% of the people said they're done researching. I went, they're in for money and they're assholes. I said, just like that.
Well, I want to give our
Yeah.
viewers some tips. Some of our paranormal investigators are watching this right now about some tips about Bigfoot. Uh, all but one case of mine was by accident seeing Bigfoot. But I've learned things about Bigfoot since I've been doing this. Okay, they do
Yep.
step backwards in their tracks. Okay, just like the Native Americans used to do to backtrack. Okay, they do
Right.
use creek bed. They'll walk through a creek bed so you can't find their footprints, and they'll step real high up on the embankment. Okay, so if you're walking through a creek sometime, or you see footprints on the other side, check them out because it could be a Bigfoot that stepped out of the water. They go around
Exactly.
water sources, berry bushes, mushrooms, things of this nature. Anything that any other animal like a bear would eat, they do. And around here, Bill,
Freshwater
up where,
clams, whatever.
right, and
Crawdads.
around where you live and where I live, okay, there's ample fish. In 1947, a Bigfoot was seen. They didn't call it a Bigfoot at the time; they called it a creature. Was seen coming out of the Mon River, okay, in November.
Yep.
Okay, it was in the newspaper. I believe that these creatures can live just about anywhere. I think that just like some alligators or crocodiles do, they can build up under an embankment, like a cave under an embankment, and live in there.
Yeah.
You'll never find them.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So
Yes.
I mean, I guess what I'm trying to say too is when you go out in the woods, you need to invest in some basic equipment. A bionic ear. I have a bionic ear. Okay. I see. I have night vision goggles, night vision glasses. I have perimeter alarms that are laser operated, motion detectors, the works. Okay. But the number one thing you got to remember when you're looking for these creatures, the minute you step in the woods, they're going to know that you're in the woods. Okay. What I do, I'm going to tell you what I do because my dad was a cop. I can see, I go into the woods,
Hi, Robert.
I'll find a tree. I find a tree and I'll wear camo or a ghillie suit and I'll find a tree and I'll put my back against a big tree and I'll sit there. I can sit still for hours, not even move a muscle. And I'll sit there and I'll just listen.
Yeah.
And along a game trail or by power line. And if you're going to set up trail cams, set them up across from each other. So if something comes and knocks one down, you'll see what the other one, something from the other one, what did it. Okay. Stagger
And
them.
the other thing, put them up high. Don't put them up 7, 8, 9 feet. Put them up 15 feet, put them in a slight angle.
That's right. That's right. The other thing is this. Don't wear.
1 second. 1 second. I got it. Mr. Uncanny Earth, Robert Solomon's in the house.
Hey, Rob, how you doing, buddy?
Um,
I'm going to be on his podcast at some point. He asked me a while back.
Yeah.
So anyhow, I can talk.
Robert's
If you're
good
hearing
there.
this tonight, I can talk a lot. But Bill will tell
He
you, you
just
got to put
came
duct
in.
tape on. But the thing is this.
I think
is,
Beth bought an extra roll just for this show.
All right, listen.
Uh,
Do you have any other questions, Bill? Because I mean, I could talk all night to you. You know how that is.
Here's my thing. And my point of view on this is what I saw, I think is flesh and blood. Do I know for sure? No, I didn't run up and pull no blood out of it. Oh, right, you're here. Thank you, brother, for showing up. The thing is, I don't know what it really is. And yes, we do need a body to decide what it is.
But hold on.
Do I want somebody to kill it? No, I do not.
I don't want to kill. That's murder.
Yeah.
I don't want to kill.
They need a body, but I don't want them to kill it.
Right.
If I find out someone goes in the wood with me and say they see when they're shooting it, their ass is gone.
I got to say this. I said this to you before when me and you talked. Let me just say this. Since the scientific community doesn't want to believe pictures and whatever, okay, let me ask you this. The only proof they want to get is an actual body, right? A live body or dead body, right? So let's say that a paranormal, say you go into the woods, Bill, and you see a Bigfoot up close, and you want to prove it to the world it's real, and you don't have a camera handy. Even if the camera's there, they ain't going to believe it. Are you going to wrestle that thing to the ground, Bill?
Oh, hell no.
How do you plan? So,
the one I saw was a juvenile. I'm almost positive it was a juvenile. It was 7 foot tall. It was 7 foot tall and had a build on it. You could see the build. You could tell it was built, but you can't really see all the muscle tone. But you can see it. You can tell.
My point being is,
but
what I'm just
the thing is, do you think I wanted to wrestle that sucker down to the ground? Hell no, that thing would have killed me.
But what I'm trying to get at, Bill, is this. And I'm trying to get somebody. I put a post out on Facebook a while back. I said, look, if I could come across some scientific organization or some real rich philanthropist who is willing to take and finance an expedition, I would pick 10 people that I trust, you being one of them, okay, and some others I trust in this field, and go up with gear enough to trap and catch one. I would go up to Radium up there in British Columbia, Canada, where one of my co-investigators went, okay, and I do a thorough job, okay, and if there was one up there and I could catch it and I had the equipment to do it, I would catch it. And after it was studied, I would find a way to release it. I would not keep it.
Yeah.
And I want it on the endangered species list because it deserves to live, okay, just as you and I.
That's why the government's not acknowledging it, because the spotted owl. Look what happened when they discovered the spotted owl. Endangered species. Shut down all the drillings, all the lumber, billions of dollars got shut down. For how long? Yeah,
well, to anybody out there,
they won't go that route.
Well, to anybody that's out there listening to this podcast tonight or any other podcast I might be on or any of my groups that I'm on, if you're rich and you want to finance an expedition to British Columbia, Canada, or anywhere where there's a lot of Bigfoot sightings, I'm your guy. I'll put together a professional team of anthropologists, biologists, native trackers, the best I can find, and I'll take Bill with me just for laughs, if nothing else. And we'll go up there and we'll do what we got to do to catch one. I'm serious as a heart attack, because before I die, which could be any day now if I don't clean the room, my wife will catch me. But I want the answers. I want the answers to this. Okay.
Yeah.
I want the answers.
That's all of us. Daniel Benoit's out there now. He wants answers.
Hey,
Tony
Dan,
Freeman,
what's up,
he
buddy?
wants answers. Robert Sullivan, he needs answers. We all need the answers. That's what
right.
we're trying to get. And, the thing is, we got to figure out why they're doing what they're doing. We're kind of at a standstill.
Yeah, we're spinning our wheels right now.
Investigate. Yeah, and that's everybody. It's me, you, Dan. We need to get outside the box. Dan's been doing some stuff outside the box, and I'm giving him credit, because he really is. I've been following a lot of his things while my wife was in the hospital and that the last few weeks, and I've been watching them, and it was I'm like, okay, even though 99% was all daytime research, but there was stuff he was doing and going around and finding things.
Well, what I wanted to do, Bill, I wanted to put together a 10-person team to go up to Mount Davis, because there's been a lot of hikers reporting encounters with Bigfoot up there. Okay. And I wanted to have 5 groups of 2 to spread out and canvass a large area at nighttime as well as daytime. Okay. And I wanted to do it in a scientific way. Listen, I'm going to tell you something. There's groups out there right now that I have absolutely no respect for. One of which, every noise they hear in the woods is a Bigfoot. Every tree fall they see is
Did you hear that?
related.
Did you hear that? It was a Bigfoot. It was a Bigfoot. I heard it.
There you go, Bill.
Jesus Christ.
And that's why I don't join some group. But you know who I'm talking about. But the thing is this. Look, trees fall in the woods, okay? Trees fall in the woods. There's woodpeckers in the woods. Trees rub up against each other and they make noise, okay? They make sometimes sounds like moaning noises, okay? Doesn't mean it's a Bigfoot. Right. Radium. It's called radium. Radium in British Columbia, Canada. Guy just asked where it was at.
Linda, I'm going to say something on that. I'm in with the unidentified network, which is some of us in the United States, but a lot of other ones are in Europe. And we're coordinating that stuff. And sharing research. And it's just, we're trying. And John will tell you, I preach, we all got to work together. We all got to share information. We can't just keep that information to ourselves like certain groups do.
Well, it's jealousy. It's about jealousy.
I'm all about sharing it. What's that?
That's the problem, Bill. That's the problem. Yeah. Some of these guys, all they want is personal fame and glory, and they want to line their pockets. They'll write a dozen books, never having seen a Bigfoot or a UFO or whatever. You can speculate till you're blue in the face. Say the moon's made out of green cheese. Doesn't mean it is. Okay? You can write a dozen books about it. Okay? Yes. Okanagan, that's where the Okanagan Lake Monster lives. I know about that too. I love to go up there. Lake Monster is one of my favorite subjects.
Right. Hell of a guy. And he has his hell of a good podcast too. Love him to death, man. I really do.
Here, Bill. Well, this shows like yours that need to be put out there. And, I want people to understand something. The groups I'm in and your group as well, I want people not to be afraid to come forward when they have these sightings, because you don't have to leave your name. Whatever, when anybody comes to me and says, hey, look, I had a Bigfoot sighting or UFO sighting, but I don't want my name put out there. I never tell their name. Unless there's one guy, I'm not even going to mention his name. I just did an investigation on him. He had, I think it was a pugwudgie, but I'm not sure the way he described it. But he didn't want his name put out there, okay? And I didn't put his name out, and I never will, because he doesn't want the negative notoriety that goes with that, because people look down on you. But when you're in our groups, okay, these serious groups, I want you to feel free to be able to talk and tell your experiences.
Yeah, exactly.
You might have a bit of information that we don't have that would help us in our investigations and for helping others as well. And just one other thing too.
I pick up bits and pieces from every podcast I do with these people. And that's what it's all about. It helps.
Well, let me say this too. Ron Howes, as you know, is a good friend of ours. Okay. He runs a PTSD group. Okay. There's a lot of people who have paranormal encounters of one kind or another who they internalize it and they suffer from PTSD for the rest of their lives because they don't feel they can come forward and talk about it and get it out of their system. Okay. So these people, they don't have to, you can get PTSD from anything, a bad marriage or a bad work environment or whatever. So, for these people that have these encounters of a paranormal kind, I want them to feel comfortable enough to come forward. If you want to message me or Bill personally, feel free. Yep. Message me on Facebook Messenger. I'm not going to tell anybody your name. You want a story to tell? I'll make up John Doe or Jane Doe. No problem. Okay. But I want to get that information out. I want you to all feel comfortable enough to come forward and tell us about your experiences. So we get.
And you don't want us to tell people who's sharing it with us, or well, I don't give exact location anyhow. When people give me a report, I don't care. I will not, because I don't want 100 different people trampling through the area. That's not cool.
Well, we don't want that either. That's why I don't take this to anybody.
Yeah, and the thing is, like Robert said, Robert, put me on your network with that. He wants to start building a network to share information.
Well, listen, I think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to start to coordinate that because I need some help in this matter because I can't do it alone. But what it is right now, like I said, we all need to put our heads together to try to come up with some definitive answers, and to find out what's going on. I've been down to Moundsville before. I went down to the penitentiary down there, did an investigation in there a long time ago, the old Moundsville Penitentiary. But anyhow, there are ghosts there, by the way. I was in the old Eastern Penitentiary too, looking. There's ghosts there too, plenty of them. By the way, let me say something about ghosts before you cut me off.
Wait, one second. What do you got going on in Moundsville, Robert? And when? Because my dates are free. I want to come.
Take me with you, Bill.
Yeah, hey, John does come across very genuine. He knows how to BS me, so he's very genuine.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You know what my wife says to me? People say to me, how can you talk so much? It's real easy when you're telling the truth. I don't have to make nothing up. Listen, I can say, look, I saw Godzilla the other day. You're not going to believe me. What the hell? But the thing is, every case I've been on, I've had multiple witnesses, okay? Multiple, not just me, okay? So, yeah. Union of the Unexplained, that sounds pretty good. I had to check you out. But here's the thing. I just want, look, the charlatans in this group and the people who are trying to make money off this and just line their pockets, they don't want answers. They just want to make money, okay? No. More power to you, but don't contact me, okay? Because I'm not going to share my stories with your thing, okay? But for those that are serious in this genre, you can contact me. I'm extending an open invitation to all your viewers tonight. Don't call me in the middle of the night, or I'll be really pissed off. But listen, because I need my rest.
I'll call you whenever I want. I'll call you whenever I want.
Okay, just don't call me late for dinner. But anyhow, the thing is, look,
we're both late for dinner. I missed mine.
Yeah, if not me, I had some good roast beef tonight. But anyhow, look.
Shut up.
You can contact me, okay? You can private message me, and I'll answer. I'll get right back to you as soon as I'm able to do so, okay? Look, and I'm going to let you go, Bill, because I know I've been talking Godzilla. You saw the go.
Way to go, Ryan.
Hey, listen, I want to tell you something. I went to see Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes the other day. I thought it'd be good. Yeah. Don't waste your money. Don't waste your money. Okay.
I heard it was good. I heard it was bad. So I don't know.
Listen, He even told
but
me it was
anyhow,
bad. He said he was bad.
yeah. That new Bigfoot movie out, I heard it was that what I heard was it was a sex story. So
Oh, that's just
I don't
wonderful.
want to go watch a Bigfoot porno. I'm sorry, I'm not into that.
Hey, you know what's funny?
Bestiality
Hey,
shit.
you know what? Hey, listen, I got to tell you something. I sent you this post a while back, but somebody put it on Facebook and said,
Yeah.
don't go out wearing female pheromones out into the woods, because what happens if you run into a Bigfoot running out of the woods with a raging, you know what? You're in trouble.
Yes.
You're in trouble.
Uh,
All right. Oh, listen. Okay, I'll leave it at that. I'll let you guys go on that note. Okay.
And I'm getting attacked by my dog. He's saying,
That's
no,
okay.
pay attention to me. No.
All right,
But
well, listen,
no,
it's
seriously,
been fun
John,
being
thank you.
It's been fun being
Thank
on your
you for
show,
being-
and thank you for everybody watching. Okay.
And
God
I'm
bless
going
them.
to do
Listen.
a closing thought here. I got to do a closing thought.
Well,
Yeah,
hold on.
that's it.
Let me say
That's
one
my
thing.
All
Let
right,
me
here
say
we go
one
for
thing.
an hour.
Tell your wife Beth, she's in my thoughts and my prayers, and I hope she gets better.
Thank
Okay. God
Thank
bless
you.
you.
Really appreciate that.
Good night,
But
Bill.
for my closing thought, I got to share this. Not number one yet, but they're creeping up. Dr. Pepper's number 2. Buffed off Pepsi, baby. But my birthday comes up in January, folks. You know what to get, including the barbecue sauce. I had to do it. I had to do
All
it.
right, Bill.
By the way, I did call Dr. Pepper's headquarters down in Texas, which is owned by Keurig, and asked if I have their permission to put their logo up on the screen up here. And I says, I do not want paid for it. I says, because I drink Dr. Pepper. I drink at least 4 bottles a day. And that I want to share it on my podcast. I want to do it legally. So I had to leave a message. Yeah. So if you see that Dr. Pepper emblem at the top of the screen, you know they gave me permission.
All right, Bill.
But anyhow,
we'll see if we can find somebody to finance an expedition.
Oh, yeah. All right. Okay.
Maybe Dr. Pepper.
Yeah, everyone, hit that like button, folks, and make sure you subscribe if you're not a subscriber to our channel. I appreciate it.
And join Bill's group. The good group.
The better it is. Yes, and you can join my Facebook group. There's only a simple question to answer, and you're in. Right, I've not been getting nothing about your podcast coming to my group lately. Make sure you send them, because you know I'll post it. Robert, goes for you too, because I share these guys. There's several of them I share, because I'm not conceited. There's other podcasts out there. Sasquatch Experience. I share about them all the time. I love that group of guys. But anyhow, folks.
Sasquatch Odyssey.
Sasquatch Odyssey. John's an admin with them. I'm surprised Ryan didn't kick you out yet. But seriously, everyone, thank you for listening. Thank you for coming. John, I appreciate it. And I go in the house and check on the wife. Thank God she's home. And today she's doing a lot better. She was able to walk more safely.
Thank God.
And with less assistance. And she got a call yesterday from Hoveround, because she called about it, gave them all the information. And they called yesterday. They said 1 to 2 weeks, a guy would be calling to come there and bring a chair for you.
Can I say one
Came
thing,
this
Bill?
afternoon at 1 o'clock. He came at 1 o'clock this afternoon. She got her Hoveround. She can get around.
Thank God. Listen, I want to say one thing, Bill, before I leave. I am the better looking guy. I'll see you later.
Damn, I got my shoes on, not my boots.
All right,
Thank you, brother. And thank you, everybody.
Good
You
night.
all have a great evening and stay safe. If anyone's out and about this weekend, if you're up in Pennsylvania area, come up to Forest County, Marionville. We'll be up there for 3 days. If you're down there, Florida, the Florida Bigfoot thing's going on. My little buddy Daniel's going to be there. So, hey, there's a couple really big events going on this weekend. Hope you guys can get out to see it and hear the speakers, the whole 9 yards. Good night, all.
This has been an Agents of the Unexplained original podcast. Like us on Facebook, subscribe and view on YouTube, and please visit our store link in the bio. Thank you for listening, and remember that paranormal